Did you know that over 30% of motorcycle battery failures happen because of improper maintenance? That's money wasted and rides ruined. But here's the good news. You can easily double the life of your battery just by avoiding a few common mistakes. Today, I'm going to show you the exact steps to keep your battery running stronger, longer, and ready to go whenever you are. So if you want to stop replacing your battery every season, watch till the end because you're about to learn how to make your motorcycle battery last twice as long. Let's get into it. Number 1. Maintain proper charge levels. Deep discharges or letting your battery drain too low are one of the fastest ways to cut its lifespan in half. Most riders don't realize that a lead acid or AGM battery starts to suffer permanent damage once it drops below 12.4 volts. That's because when the charge gets too low, sulfation kicks in. This is when sulfate crystals start forming on the battery plates, making it harder and harder to hold a charge. And here's the worst part. Once sulfation sets in, it's almost impossible to reverse. Your battery will struggle to recharge properly, lose capacity, and eventually die way sooner than it should. So, how do you fix this? Never let your battery sit at a low charge for too long. If you're storing your bike for weeks or months, plug it into a battery tender or trickle charger to keep it topped off. If you're riding regularly, make sure your trips are long enough, at least 20 to 30 minutes, to let the charging system fully replenish the battery. And if your bike is cranking slower than usual, don't ignore it. That's usually the first sign that your battery isn't getting enough charge and might already be damaged. Number 2. Use a battery tender during storage. If you're not using a battery tender, you're killing your motorcycle battery without even realizing it. Here's the deal. Your battery slowly drains over time, even when the bike is turned off. And if it sits too long without being recharged, sulfation starts to build up on the battery plates. What does that mean? It means your battery won't hold a charge as well. And before you know it, you're stuck with a weak or completely dead battery when riding season comes back around. The fix is simple. Use a battery tender. This little device keeps your battery charged without overcharging it, ensuring it stays healthy and ready to go whenever you need it. Just plug it in whenever you're storing your bike for more than a couple of weeks. And don't make the mistake of thinking you can just charge it back up in the spring once sulfation sets in. Your battery's lifespan is already cut short. A battery tender is a small investment that can double your battery life, save you money, and make sure your bike is always ready to ride when you are. Number 3. Limit short rides. Think a quick 5-minute ride to the store is keeping your battery healthy? Think again. Short rides are secretly draining your battery and cutting its lifespan in half. Here's why. Every time you start your bike, the battery takes a big hit to power the starter motor. Your bike's charging system, whether it's a stator or alternator, needs time to fully recharge the battery after that initial drain. And if you're only riding for a few minutes at a time, it never gets the chance. Over time, this constant undercharging leads to a weaker battery that struggles to hold a charge. And before you know it, your bike won't start, and you're reaching for your wallet to buy a new battery again. The fix? Take longer rides whenever possible, at least 20 to 30 minutes to let your charging system do its job. If short rides are unavoidable, at least hook up a battery tender every once in a while to keep the charge topped up. Number 4. Keep the battery cool. Did you know that heat is just as bad for your motorcycle battery as freezing cold? Most riders worry about their battery dying in winter, but hot temperatures can kill it even faster. When your bike sits in direct sunlight or a scorching hot garage, the excessive heat evaporates battery fluid in lead-acid batteries and weakens internal components in AGM and lithium batteries. This means your battery won't hold a charge as well, and over time, it'll just stop working way sooner than it should. So, what's the fix? Park your bike in the shade whenever possible. If you're storing it long-term, don't leave it baking in a hot garage. Find a cooler spot with good ventilation. And if you live in a hot climate, consider switching to a sealed AGM or lithium battery, which can handle high temperatures much better than traditional lead-acid batteries. Number 5. Use dielectric grease on terminals to prevent corrosion. Your motorcycle battery could be silently dying, and the culprit might be corrosion on the terminals. Over time, moisture, dirt, and battery acid buildup create a crusty layer on the terminals, blocking the electrical flow and making it harder for your bike to start. Corrosion also increases resistance, which means your battery has to work harder, draining power faster and shortening its lifespan. If you've ever noticed hard starts, dim headlights, or random electrical issues, corroded terminals might be to blame. The solution? Dielectric grease. This simple, affordable trick can protect your battery terminals from corrosion, ensuring a strong and reliable connection. First, clean the terminals with baking soda and water to remove any buildup. Then, apply a thin layer of dielectric grease to the terminals before reconnecting them. This grease acts as a barrier against moisture and oxidation, keeping your battery in peak condition for years. Skipping this step could mean frequent battery replacements and frustrating electrical failures. Number 6. Check and maintain proper battery water levels. If your motorcycle battery isn't sealed, there's one crucial step you can't afford to skip checking and maintaining the water levels. Most riders don't realize that lead-acid batteries slowly lose water over time, especially in hot climates or during long rides. When the fluid level gets too low, the battery can't generate enough power, and even worse, the exposed lead plates inside can sustain permanent damage. This leads to reduced capacity, weaker starts, and a much shorter battery lifespan. The fix is simple. Check your battery's water levels every 3 to 6 months. If the fluid is below the recommended level, add only distilled water, never tap water, since minerals and impurities can damage the battery. Also, avoid overfilling, as this can cause acid overflow and corrosion. Keeping the right fluid levels prevents overheating, sulfation, and capacity loss, allowing your battery to last twice as long and perform at its best. Number 7. Secure battery connections. Ever had your bike struggle to start for no reason? Your battery might not be the problem. Loose connections could be draining its power. Over time, the constant vibrations from riding can loosen battery terminals, causing voltage drops, weak starts, and even charging issues. A loose connection means your bike's electrical system isn't getting a steady flow of power, forcing the battery to work harder and shortening its lifespan. The fix? Check and tighten your battery terminals regularly. Every few weeks, take a moment to inspect the connections. If they're even slightly loose, tighten them up. Use a wrench to secure the terminals, but be careful not to over-tighten and strip the bolts. To prevent them from loosening again, apply a small amount of thread locker to keep them secure, especially if you ride on rough roads or off-road trails. A simple check can mean the difference between a strong, healthy battery and one that dies way too soon. Number 8. Test your charging system regularly. Think your battery is the problem? It might not be. That your charging system could be the real culprit. A faulty stator, regulator, rectifier, or alternator can mean your battery isn't charging properly, leading to weak starts, dim headlights, and eventually a completely dead battery. If your bike keeps killing batteries sooner than expected, it's time to test your charging system. Here's how. Grab a multimeter and check the battery voltage while the engine is running. A healthy charging system should read between 13.5V and 14.5V at idle. If it's below 13V, your battery isn't charging properly, which means it'll keep draining until it dies. If it's above 15V, your regulator might be overcharging the battery, which can damage the internal plates and shorten its lifespan. Regularly testing your charging system can save you from replacing perfectly good batteries and prevent unexpected breakdowns. If you notice any irregular readings, get the charging system checked or repaired before your battery suffers permanent damage. Number 9. Avoid overloading the battery with excessive accessories. Adding extra gadgets to your bike like USB chargers, GPS units, heated grips, or aftermarket lights might seem like a great idea. But if you're not careful, you're slowly killing your battery. Many riders don't realize that even when the bike is off, some accessories continue to draw power, leading to a slow drain that weakens the battery over time. And if your charging system isn't strong enough to keep up with the added electrical demand, your battery will struggle to stay charged and wear out much faster. So, what's the fix? Be smart about how you wire your accessories. Instead of connecting them directly to the battery, use a relay switch, or wire them to the ignition circuit. That way, they only draw power when the bike is on. If you have multiple high-draw accessories, upgrade to a higher output stator or regulator to ensure your charging system can handle the load. And if you're storing the bike for a while, disconnect non-essential accessories to prevent slow battery drain. Overloading your battery might not kill it overnight, but it will shorten its lifespan significantly. Number 10. Choose the right battery type for your bike and climate. Not all motorcycle batteries are created equal, and using the wrong one for your bike or climate can cut its lifespan in half. If you've ever had a battery die on you sooner than expected, it might not be bad luck. It could be the wrong type of battery for your riding conditions. Here's what you need to know. Lead-acid batteries are the cheapest option, but they require regular maintenance and struggle in extreme temperatures. AGM batteries are a much better choice for most riders. They hold a charge longer, resist vibrations, and perform well in both hot and cold climates. Lithium-ion batteries are lightweight and great for high-performance bikes, but they can struggle in freezing weather unless they have built-in heating technology. So, what's the right battery for you? If you live in a cold climate, go with AGM or lithium. They hold a charge better in freezing temperatures. If you ride in extreme heat, lithium or high-quality AGM batteries handle the heat better than traditional lead-acid. And no matter where you live, always choose a battery with the right cranking amps for your bike.